Hello there and welcome. In today's video, we are going to go over starting your own company in Microsoft Flight Sim, what you can expect from what I would call starter companies, and just some general information on how the companies work and what you can expect from them in the new career mode. So with that out of the way, if you do find this video helpful, please like, subscribe, as that helps me out a ton. And with that, let's just jump straight into it. So to get started here, the requirements for starting your own company is actually just two. The first requirement is that you are going to have to do a specialization mission that basically acts as a tutorial or introduction to these missions, and it's pretty straightforward. You're going to see a big golden symbol on your map once you unlock them. You complete that mission, and you now have that specialization unlocked, which allows you to buy the license for the corresponding company. Now, the second requirement is just straight up finances, basically money. So you're going to need about 25,000 credits for the first company, and depending on what company you want to start, you might need a little bit more, but 25,000 is the requirement to unlock the company's feature, if you will. To create a company, it's pretty straightforward here. You go create company, and then you choose the ones that are available to you, and you can also see exactly what you needed to unlock some of the other options. Licensing companies, basically, it's going to be your first option at around 25,000. It has a license purchase cost here of about just 1,000 credits, which makes it very cheap. Skydive, if I remember correctly, is about 10,000. Cargo transport is about 20. And these three are basically going to be your options for a starting company. Now, I want to give you a warning here, because the first plane you buy is heavily discounted. It's discounted by about 90%. And if you crash it or sell it, you're not getting that discount back, which means that your first plane is going to be very, very important to take care of, give it the highest level of insurance, and also do not sell it because, again, the discount is a one thing only. If you sell your plane, you're going to have to try and make up some more money to buy a new one. Now, in terms of the starting companies, as I mentioned, Skydive Aviation and Cargo Transport do have a higher fee cost, or rather licensing cost, than the Flight Sim, but I would recommend skipping Flight Sim because it's not really going to be very profitable, and that's really the best reason. It's not very profitable. The missions do take a long time. You're basically doing two types of missions: the first flight missions, which most have already done, and flight seeing missions, which means that you do 3 different points of interest, which makes these missions quite lengthy to do, and as such, not really a good moneymaker. Skydive Aviation is actually what I would recommend starting with, and the reason for that is very simple. The missions can be done incredibly quick if you are willing to skip. Basically, you can skip everything in a Skydive Aviation mission and generally get full pay. And if you are, if you didn't know, basically, if you skip parts of a mission, you generally get most of the pay cut off. You don't get paid the full amount. But with Skydive Aviation, you can basically skip the entire mission and still get paid in full, because it seems that the skip feature basically just focuses on how far you've traveled, and since Skydive Aviation skipping is basically just altitude, you don't really get punished. Because of the fact that we can skip basically every phase of a Skydive Aviation mission, you can generally do these in about 5 minutes, meaning they're very efficient to grind, and the pay is also really decent. So if you're just looking to make money quickly and also level up, because we're doing missions really, really quickly, we're going to be able to get a lot of XP, Skydive Aviation is a really, really good choice. Now, lastly, the cargo transport here is basically pretty straightforward. You fly cargo from A to B. The pay is the highest of the starter missions, basically per mission. The pay is pretty high, but it is pretty lengthy, so in terms of efficiency, you're probably going to make more money doing skydives than you're going to do cargo. But you could also be really, really cheeky here and save up money to buy a medium-sized plane as your first plane for cargo transport, and basically make a lot of money very, very easily with these missions. But it depends on what you're looking for. I wouldn't really recommend flight seeing unless you really like it. Skydive Aviation is basically for grinding out loads of mission, loads of money quick. And cargo transport is basically slow and steady wins the race. You earn decent paychecks, and you also do get a decent setup pretty quickly. Now, in terms of the payouts themselves, you probably do want to have a little bit of comparison, so we're going to take a quick look at the missions here. And generally, kind of what you can expect in terms of payouts. So we do have the first flights here. Generally, well, from what I've seen, these pay between 10 to 15,000 per mission. Flight Sim goes a little bit higher, from 15 to 20. Some of these might be a little bit higher than that, but basically around 20,000 a mission. And again, this is kind of why I don't recommend these. Because while 20,000 might seem like a lot here, it really isn't. Because when you do missions, you get a no skip bonus. And if you do not skip, you can generally expect to earn 2 to sometimes 2.5 times the base pay. So in this case, this 18,000 would be probably 40,000 final payout. But as I mentioned, flight sim missions cap out around 20,000. The first flights cap around 15,000. And if we compare that to, say, the skydiving missions here, they do start at a very low 11,000. But this one's 24. I've seen 30 and I've seen 40. So basically, for skydive aviation, you're going to be skipping all of these 11,000 payout missions in order to take those missions that pay a little bit higher. They're going to be far and few between. You're probably going to have to take a bit of a look at it. But as I mentioned here, a lot of these missions do pay upwards to 25, 30, 40,000. And these are basically missions that you do want to take. And again, we can take the base credit here, multiply by 2, 2.5, to get the actual payout. So if we did do this mission, we're going to be paid somewhere between 50 to 60,000, which doesn't really sound like a lot, but if you do that every 5 minutes, as you can imagine, it stacks up really, really quickly. Now, the last mission here, the cargo missions, they do pay pretty well. I don't think I've seen anything under 25. They go from about 25 to 40 to 50. So they generally do pay pretty well, but as mentioned, it's 10, 15, 20 minutes of flying. Remember, this is a Cessna. They don't fly very fast, so it does take a little bit of work. And generally, again, it's a little bit too lengthy for my liking, but if you just enjoy flying over the skies, then doing cargo missions could definitely be for you. I prefer doing skydiving missions. They do give me that little bit of a kick. And as I mentioned here, they are pretty efficient at leveling up and basically unlocking new parts of the game, which is, again, one of the benefits from doing them. Now, a second benefit from doing skydiving missions is going to be the fact that they really, really quickly level up your reputation. And that is because skydiving missions has an additional judgment criteria. Generally, you're going to get judged on a few things when you fly in this game, depending on mission type. But skydive missions have an additional judgment criteria, which is how quickly you get back to the airport after you dropped off your passengers or the skydivers. And basically, we are just going to turn off the engine and drop straight down. It's going to take basically a couple of minutes of dropping before we land. And that is going to be maximized basically every time, meaning that you can have a very hard time losing reputation doing skydive missions. I generally do lose reputation quite a lot doing other types of missions. I'm not a good pilot. So for me, if you don't fly very well, these reputation missions can be pretty huge. Again, reputation gives you a boost to your payouts. And for S rank, that is, if I remember correctly, 20%. And that's not a small amount of money. So what you could do here, for instance, is fly skydive missions to boost your reputation, and then do cargo missions that pay out better. Or better yet, save up some money and unlock better companies. Like the charter service is pretty good. Medevac is unfortunately a little bit lacking unless you get a good plane. But charter service is really, really good, and that might be your best option for a basically second or even third company. If we take a quick look at it here, just as a little bit of side roll, the Cirrus Vision Jet here has a pretty high cruise speed. It's pretty amazing. I love this thing. So yeah, do keep that in mind. But yeah, that's really about it. There isn't really much more to it. I don't really recommend again flight sim. I recommend skydiving if you want to make a lot of money quickly. I recommend cargo if you want to be slow and steady with high payouts for each single mission. It's going to pay a little bit less in terms of efficiency, but it's still a good way to earn money, don't get me wrong. If there are any questions, feel free to ask. There has been some patches that have changed payouts a little bit, because I'm going to be honest here, I'm a little bit biased with skydiving. The highest payout I had before one of the latest patches was about 300,000. So We'll have to see if they actually tweak the payouts a little bit more in the future. Keep an eye out for that. Give me some... I was about to say, give me some questions if you have them, and I'll do my best to respond to them. I have played this game quite a bit, level 95, which honestly isn't that hard to get to. But, yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this has given you a little bit of a better idea of what you want to start with. And if there is something that I missed or something, again, you're curious about, feel free to ask. I'll try and respond as quickly as possible. But it is Christmas, I'll be traveling home, so maybe I'll be a little bit slow. Apologies if I'm slow to respond. Hope you have a Merry Christmas, everyone. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a good holiday. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.